Hello, everybody. Riker here, following up on a nail biter game that had me and Ben holding our breath the whole time. The Raptors, 102-95 win against the surging and balanced Wizard team, might I add. Tonight was 3J Miles, 3J, his night, but it was Grandmaster Midrange, aka DeRozan. I picked that up from the ESPN feed that iced the game with a sweet J over Morris and then a reverse layup the next possession. It was good. It was good. It really was.
Man, this game was absolutely awesome. You said it yourself, CJ Miles. That guy didn't miss tonight, even though he did a couple times. Felt like he didn't. And then it was awesome to see DeMar DeRozan just ice the game at the end.
Yeah, I mean the big highlight tonight being the Raptors bench performance in the first half, as always. And like I said, I was watching the ESPN feed because, well, there was no Jack tonight for the Raptors, so I didn't mind. It's also nice to hear the opinions of the non-Raptors media, see if they hate on us, see what they think. But they had a good point.
Yeah, for sure.
At the end of the game, they said the Raps came back from a huge deficit again. It was, I think the starters were down like 14 in the first 5 minutes or something. Large deficit. It's happened many times throughout the season. This just adds again to the Dwayne Casey for Coach of the Year equity. I mean,
100%.
His mastery with lineup changes and putting in guys that will push the others to perform has been amazing.
Yeah, well, it's Dwayne Casey just been awesome this year. Everyone's talking about the culture change, all that stuff. That's been well noted. Everyone's passing the ball, new style offense. But you said it just then. Dwayne Casey's been playing guys this year. He's been taking risks with lineups, and we're seeing the bench unit close games. We mentioned it last podcast that the DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, plus 3 bench guys. Tonight, CJ Miles was out there instead of Siakam to mostly close the game because he was absolutely on fire. He was cooking tonight.
Yep.
But he's letting these lineups run through, right? A couple years back, it would be he'd have to throw in Damari Carroll. It would just be Dwayne Casey's nature. No matter how good Norm or someone, James Johnson, was playing, he'd have to throw back in Damari Carroll. But no, he's willing to go with the flow now. He's making the right moves. His instincts are great. Dwayne Casey has just been phenomenal this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool because we obviously put players under the microscope. Do they have the ability to adapt their game, to develop, right? But we don't often think, do coaches have the ability to adapt and develop their coaching style? Yeah. That's something that Casey's done. And I mean, I think he probably will end up being Coach of the Year, if not the Houston Rockets coach. But those are obviously the two best coaches in the league 100%. This year.
Mike
right?
D'Antoni has been... The Houston Rockets are doing great things out west.
But
if we beat them next week...
That's true. If we beat them next week. And the Raptors still have the best home record in the league. Better than the Warriors and the Rockets.
That's true. So, I don't know. It would be definitely a tight race between two of those. But I think they're the two definite front runners. But you mentioned the starters started off the game. What were your thoughts on the starters at the beginning of this game? Because it looked a bit scary at the start.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of scary the whole game through. We'll talk about the Wizards a little bit in a minute, but yeah, I mean, it was just sluggish. They weren't making their shots. Credit to the Wizards as well. They played very efficiently. Since John Wall's been out, which I think is 10 games, the Wizards decided to adopt a Spurs or Raptors style offense where they actually averaged the most assists per game in the league. So they were just playing really well, but the starters for the Raptors weren't performing. They brought out the bench and they took over the game. They brought it back, they got a lead. I mean, it happens every game.
Yep. It's wild because the bench is honestly more reliable than the starting unit.
Yeah. Well, Steady Freddie, man. Steady Freddie.
Steady Freddie. Yak was... Just talk about Yak. Oh, my God.
Man, he had some blocks tonight. I wanted to make a really cringe joke about him being like a special task force operator because he was swatting the ball so much, but I decided not to use it, but then I just threw it in instead. But no, he played so well. Siakam's energy, I mean, it didn't really I don't know if it translated to the box score or not for any of the bench players. VV and DeLon didn't shoot that well tonight, but just the energy they were able to give. And Jakob Poeltl just continues to impress me with how high his IQ is as such a young player, especially he had virtually 0 minutes last season to a player that looks like a veteran in late game situations, right?
Most definitely. It's almost the opposite of Jonas. Because, Jonas, he's a bigger guy. He can hold his ground a bit more. But he always seems a little bit lost on defense. Yak is just always there, always knows where to be. His positioning is absolutely amazing. And he's not even... He's a really good athlete, especially for a big man. But he's not, DeAndre Jordan or Tyson Chandler or whatever. But he makes up for... He's always there, and he gets all these blocks because he's in the right position. Yeah. And that's honestly the most valuable type of defense. Right?
What would
guys
you
like Hassan White?
Yeah, go ahead. Finish that point.
Guys like Hassan Whiteside get so many blocks and all that, but they're almost a net loss on defense because their positioning isn't great. Yak actually stops the people, and it's just great to have a mobile big man, and that's the big that Casey's always wanted.
Yeah. And like the dexterity of like Siakam as well. They're guarding players out at the perimeter and doing it pretty well. And they're playing defense on a string too. So even if they do a rotation or a switch where a big gets drawn out, the players come in to help, which makes it really, really good for the rest of the players on the team. Because even if they get blown by, they can stop them. But I was gonna ask you, moving into the playoffs, I just said Jakob Poeltl looks very comfortable for a player of his age, especially in late game situations. Would you like to see him play in the playoffs late games? And do you think that inexperience would hurt him at that point?
Well, I think it's all about feel. But I see a game like Jakob Poeltl translates to playoff basketball because he's not someone that's taken post fadeaways or is a heavy scorer. He's an energy person that always does the dirty work. And those are the types of guys that games translate in big games, right? Because you aren't thinking before the game. You don't psych yourself out about getting over on help side defense. That's not something that pressure affects.
That's true.
So I think his game, that's what I love about the bench unit. No one does anything crazy. I guess CJ went wild from 3 tonight. Yeah. And it's obviously not sustainable to ask him to hit 6 threes a night. But if he does that, CJ, that would be amazing.
Yep.
But no one's doing anything too wild.
That's true. Everybody played within the system, within the limits this game. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what the bench unit always does. They don't have anyone trying to do anything crazy. They don't have a Jamal Crawford or Lou Williams trying to put in 20 points per game off the bench. They're all just doing their thing, and I love our bench unit.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really great point. All right, to bring it over to the Wizards for a minute, though, just because, be a little bit less impartial, I guess. A little less biased.
The Lizards, dude. The
Lizards.
Taking L's, not W's.
No, okay. You're not going to beat the Raptors. But every other game they've been playing well. So Beal had a game tonight. He recovered from an 8-point game. I don't know if it was last game or 2 games ago. Only 22 points, which isn't crazy.
23.
23. But that was a very loud and very scary 23 points, I'll tell you, watching that game.
I don't know.
He's just a threatening player because he can make shots late game.
Yeah, Bradley Beal just always hits these random shots against us.
Yeah. And I mean, he doesn't even drive. He just has this crazy spot up game and one dribble pull.
I know, and he doesn't miss against the Raptors. He's one of my least favorite players. Him and Kyrie.
That's true.
Just because of how they play against Toronto. Yeah.
All right. No, so I shouldn't be boosting Beal at all. Then I'm probably gonna make you.
No,
explode.
Damari Carroll Gold Star tonight goes to Riker for propping up Bradley Beal.
Oh no, my first gold star. But the real story, I think, of this game for the Wizards was there was a 13-point explosion in the third from Otto Porter Jr. Yeah. I didn't know where that came from. I know he was on a big contract, but I didn't think he was that much of a threat. But clearly, I don't watch enough Wizards basketball because apparently he's pretty consistent. But fun fact about Porter, also heard from the ESPN reporters, that he never played a single AAU game in high school, but still managed to go to whatever university he went to and get picked 3rd overall in the NBA draft. The AAU, of course, being the league that Zion, LaMelo, like pretty much all of the best talent in American basketball play, right?
Yeah.
He opted that's pretty wild. Just train on his own. Yeah, that was pretty cool. All right, let's jump into the segments, man.
Provincial basketball.
Yeah, provincial. Playing Max Athletics basketball.
Yeah. Hey.
Shout out to any Newfoundland viewers. All right, swing us into the segments. Do you want to take any of them?
Well, we'll start with the play of the day. I know you got a play of the day for us.
Yep. All right, play of the day. Fourth quarter. Or was it maybe it was the third. I don't want to get it jumbled up. So in some quarter, late game, Pirtle with a slip screen and an and one off of a very sweet DeMar DeRozan bounce pass. Not the most flashy of plays, but one of the best executed plays that happened in the entire game. I mean, DeRozan's assisting ability has been way up this entire season, and that was just a really nice play to watch.
Yeah. I remember the broadcast brought up, it looked like DeMar was almost overpassing at times, and that's something you'd never hear described about DeMar DeRozan.
That is 100% true.
Yeah, so that's just a testament to how DeMar DeRozan's playmaking, looking like Steve Nash out there. But no, that was an exciting play. But not all plays can be the play of the day.
No, they cannot.
And some just make you say, oh, geez. And tonight, oh, geez, not just play. It goes to a couple things about the Wizards team. Mm-hmm. Tonight, they were on their jerseys, they had written District of Columbia. Yep. I believe it was. Yep. Is that yeah.
District of Columbia. The District of Columbia.
That's like Toronto writing on their jersey, the province of Ontario.
I didn't even think to put the province there. I mean, I guess D is like DC would be the district. If we even put any variation there, like I think we get laughed off the court.
Yeah. So I don't know. The District of Canada. So I don't know. I found that a bit weird. It made me say, "Oh geez," and also Mike Scott's arm. That man is just tatted up with emojis. I
thought it was all smiley faces. That's even more funny that it's just emojis. So they're all recent then, I guess.
No, he's had him for a couple of years. I remember, I think the Starters were talking about it a couple of years ago on one of their pods, and then I looked up. I totally forgot, and then you brought it up before the pod. So that's an OG's moment.
I'd put my shoe in for that being one of the worst tattoos in the league. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, without a doubt. And what else? DeJounte Murray's.
He got that covered. That was the most amazing tattoo in the league. The baseball/basketball animal thing. I don't know. It was just like a face that was. No idea what it was, but it was hilarious. That was his only tattoo. Up on the screen. But yeah, he got that covered. Man, what a shame. All right, and finally, switching it up tonight. So try to follow with us here, guys. A reverse Damari Carroll Gold Star Award. Now, normally it goes to a player with the worst performance of the night in comparison to Damari Carroll never performing well, right?
Yep.
But tonight it's going to be the reverse. It goes to CJ Miles, who actually played like we wanted Damari Carroll to play when we signed him last season. Ooh. So he made shots and he played defense.
That is definitely the best candidate for a reverse Damari Carroll Gold Star. Someone that can hit threes and play defense.
It's been rare on the Raptors.
Yeah, the small forward curse. I think it's been with OG and CJ this season. I think it's. Oh, we'll wait till the playoffs, but I think the small forward curse has been lifted a little bit.
Yeah, can't speak too soon. But it was a fun game all around.
Yeah, it's great to see us beat these, solid teams. I love big Raptors wins on ESPN. All that, everyone sees the bench mob lighting it up. Great to see.
Yeah, hopefully they just start giving us more respect. But you know what? If we don't earn it, we'll take it.
Yeah, no, they'll respect us when we win the chip. That's what I have to say.
That's true, and we won't have to wait long.
Buddy, in June we're raising that title. Well, anyways, we've been rambling long enough.
Mm-hmm. True.
That's it from us. Thanks for listening, guys. You made it this far. If you like the video, subscribe, and we'll be back with the next game. Some more content on the way.
Later, alligators.